Hello, welcome to Intuitive Insights. I am your no BS woo-woo coach, Megan McDonough. I am an intuitive guide and a creativity coach. So this week on Intuitive Insights, usually I like to explore once a month something that's been coming up either in readings or in life and share my reflections on it that hopefully you can utilize in your life, tools, reflections, etc., things to think about, things to mull over. Um, and then I do an interview in the second half of the month. And that is somebody who is using intuition in their lives daily, kind of demystifying it, making it more practical and applicable for you in your everyday life. And then also looking at different walks of life and how they use it. So this week, I'm actually re-airing a interview that I did with Kirsten Askins. Kirsten is a yoga instructor, the owner of Hanu Yoga in New Jersey, and she is also a Reiki master teacher. She is an astrologer and a budding herbologist. So the reason I'm re-airing this is because Kirsten and I are doing a workshop this Sunday, 6:30 to 8 Central Time. And what we're looking at is, for those of you who are familiar with the lunar nodes, they have shifted. They shifted, I believe, in January. And so they're going to be shifted for the next 18 months, so well into the early part of 2026. And this workshop is to look at where those lunar nodes are affecting you in your life, where the energy, the universal energy, is asking you to tap into your intuition and to release, tap into your intuition, creativity, and spirituality through Pisces, and then release kind of the control, the perfection of Virgo. So where that might be affecting you in your life, and then how to learn how to flow with it and work with it as best you can throughout this time. So I'm reintroducing Kirsten Askins here, going through our recording. And I hope that you will join us on Sunday, the 13th at 6:30. And be sure to do it ahead of time because Kirsten will need your birth information in order to get the correct chart for you to pull up. Okay. I hope you have a magical week. Make some magic today. Big buckets of love. Here's Kirsten. Hello, welcome to Intuitive Insights. I am your no BS woo-woo coach, Megan McDonough. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about risk. It's something I've been meditating on a lot lately, and our relationship to it. Like as a society, personally, generationally, all the things. Before we jump into this, I would love it if you would like and subscribe, but also it really just helps this to grow. So if this helps you, keep the energy flowing. All right, so risk. So my personal relationship with risk is, it feels like if I think of what the word risk means, or I feel into the word risk, it feels to me like life. Like what I want life to feel like. That space between jumping off and landing and not knowing if you're going to stick the landing, not knowing if you jumped off in the right spot or not. Obviously, this is all not realistic, more metaphoric. But I mean, this is how art feels to me. This is how creating feels to me. That you're going so far out of your comfort zone, or just enough outside of your comfort zone, that you don't know what it's going to look like on the other end. You don't know how it's going to be received. You just know that your soul wants to take the leap, that you want to take the jump, that you need to. And that little space between jumping, making that decision to jump, and the landing, that to me is where the magic happens. Because that's where you have to hold on to faith. That's where you have to hold on to trust. And it's so easy to get pulled off and away from and distracted and unfocused during that time, with thoughts like, well, doubts. Will I land? Will it hurt? Will there be someone to catch me? Will I land if there's not? Will I be okay if there's not? And that space in between, that kind of breath in between the not knowing and the knowing, or the result, or the ending, the finale, where you land. I mean, for me, that's where the magic lives. That's where that's why, to me, we're supposed to live life. That is why we are called to our intuition. Our intuition is that internal, unseen navigational force that we feel, and it cannot be rationalized. The brain wants so much to have an answer, and the soul, the intuition, thrives without one. Because the intuition and the soul are connected to, in my mind, they're connected to the higher plane. They're connected to the universal, eternal plane. And from that space, you have perspective, right? From that space, you don't have doubts. Because you have the entire map. But when we come in our little journeys here in life, right, in these physical forms, we have just like a piece of the map. We have a couple of things that indicate to us, where we begin, where we're born, and then that feeling in our gut where we want to go to, that thing that's driving us forward. And that can be found in what we like, what brings us joy, makes us happy, who makes us happy. And so when you keep following that joy, when you keep following that little golden thread of what lights your heart up, the more you do it, the more you live in that space, the more you trust that space, the more comfortable you get with being uncomfortable, the more brave you get when you fall, or when there's a possibility of falling. And the more courageous you get. Because you know that falling there's no such thing. I mean, yes, you can physically fall, but I mean, failing, there is no such thing. And that's a hard one for me. Because the fear of failure holds me back so much. But the need to risk is so great that occasionally I get something done. You know what I mean? And it may fail. So why I've been marinating on this is also because I'm seeing in the next generation, I'm seeing in my kids in the next generation, this fear of risk, of working hard for something or for trying or, that it's not just instantaneous. And I mean, look, it can be a sign of the times. If I think back when I was growing up in the 80s, it was like fend for yourself, kid, latchkey kids and so forth. It was like fend for yourself, right? So you had to grow up fast. You had to learn things. You had to fail a lot. And that was accepted because either no one was around to notice, you know, or they just had other things in their mind. I don't know. Or it was more acceptable that kids failed at things. But now in my generation, and I'm seeing, ones before me and a little after me, we feel like, especially the latchkey kid type kids, that, felt like there was a distance between being guided and having to raise yourself. That there is this like, I'm going to give what I didn't get. And so instead of, and I'm at fault for this for sure too, I try to be mindful of it, but we are human. We try to protect our kids from having to have any of those failures. But the failures are like, they're beautiful. Almost everything I've learned that stuck with me on a deep character level, that sculpted who I am, that I'm proud of, was because I failed in some way at something. And then I got back up. My son was worried about failing at something or feeling like he'd failed at something. And I was trying to explain to him the process of learning, can look not like a straight line forward, but, maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 4 steps forward, 3 steps back, depending on your process, depending on the journey, depending on what you're learning and growing through. And I mean, he did not like that answer. He did not like it at all. But I feel as though we've lost touch with, it's okay. It's okay to fail. And the other thing that this opens up in me, especially in today's society with social media and kind of all of our lives being lived out loud, it's also okay to be average. I feel like there's a big fear around that, being average, myself included. I mean, which is not like a revelation because, I went into acting and so therefore I'm always, that was kind of part of what I was going after. But that it's okay, especially as parents with kids, like it's okay for your kid to be average. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And sometimes that feels like a risk. The risk of acceptance of where things are and who they are. And you can pull that into your relationships too. If I accept this person for who they really are and not who I need them or want them to be, what's at risk? Because I feel like sometimes with our relationships and this fear of failure and this fear of risking is like, if we don't hold up the image of life that we believe is correct, like a net around us that everyone plays a part in, then who's going to do it? Or it'll all fall apart. And then what? And the thing is like, that's all made up, right? Like there is so much anxiety with our kids these days and society and everything kind of layering in. And I think a lot of it is because of this unwillingness or fear as though you cannot risk to be average. But the thing is there is no such thing as average because we are all honestly the same. We're made of the same stardust. If you want to get all woo, we're all made of the same stardust. We're all made of the same things. But each little piece of our souls is on a specific mission with specific superpowers and specific challenges. And when you follow that joy and live in that space between, by following that joy, by following that thread, by finding the things that really excite you and turn you on and make you feel like your whole body is well, you're just ecstatic. Not the things that ignite your head, but they ignite your heart. Those things are the things that are always going to make you unique. And therefore, there is no average, right? And right now, there's a lot of big changes. I'm a big fan of astrology. I'm not an astrologer, but I'm very interested in astrology. And there are a lot of big planetary changes, a lot of big energy changes happening there, but it's being seen reflected here on Earth, or vice versa, reflected into the skies, however you look at it. And the reflection is of structural change. And what I'm seeing and feeling is that the change is going from head to heart. And the heads have gotten us so far. The brain has gotten us so far. But to go even further down the path for humanity, our hearts now have to take over. The next chapter belongs to our hearts. And the next chapter belongs to our creativity and our individuality found through risk. And the risk of finding what excites you, what gives you joy. So as a reflection, I wanted to offer this week a journal prompt. What brings me joy? And unravel it, whatever it may be, until you get to the nugget, to the very specific nugget that may feel super random, but you're like, but that's it. Like, I think I've used this one before, and it's probably gonna be a terrible example, but you know, I love being around trees. And I'm like, why do I love to be around trees? Because the trees make me feel calm. And if I unravel it even more, it's specific trees. I need the green trees. And I need the quiet of nature. And if I unravel that even more, it's because then I can truly hear my true self, or my higher self, or the universal self. And that's when I feel connected. And that is something I seek in life. So what brings you joy? Unravel that pill until you get to the tiny little nugget inside. And then keep following that golden thread. Okay, that's it. That's this week's message. If you're enjoying this show, please share it with someone you think would like it and could use it. If you're looking for an intuitive reading for yourself or coaching, you can find me at magnetizeyourlight.com. Make some magic today. Big buckets of love.